of those ANC guys, like Alex was talking about, they are two-faced. That's why there's a little bit of distrust. The DA are not happy with the budget that was passed. They feel some of the policies are not favoring them. So it's like strange bedfellows, really, this JNU thing. So basically, nobody trusts the ANC because, like, it appears the people in front are puppets. There are some people behind the cast that are really pulling the strings, basically.
Yeah, and when after the elections, I think we know DA did well, ANC won, MK Party did well, and EFF did well. And instead of putting EFF and MK Party with a unified government with DA and ANC, this guy now decided to put what's that guy, the Colored Party's party, PA, McKenzie, rather than working with these guys. Why would you not work with the your top three opponents? You put the other two away. You put MK Party away, and you put EFF. So it shows that for him to do that and not put them in a unity government for the country, he's setting up a unity government, which is not even respecting the will of the people, because you're not involving MK Party and EFF, which are closely behind DA. So this is very shady. And now that the DA is now trying to flex and try to be the boss of the whole thing. So that the Unity Party is a joke, and it doesn't represent South Africa. What are your thoughts, Alex? Yeah.
No, actually, the EFF actually declined to join this whole GNU situation.
Okay, they declined.
Because Julius could see that this whole thing was just a circus.
Yeah, but he needs to realize in politics is you got to play the game. But go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, because so I mean, like, honestly, what have they? I feel like they haven't really done anything. Like, what have they really achieved since they formed this union?
Oh, nothing. They haven't done anything. Nothing at all.
Nothing. So, like, what was the whole point of it?
Your guess is as good as mine. I don't know what their rationale. Maybe you know, Afolabi. What was the point?
The point is, I don't know. I think the ANC is using it as a tool to reposition their corrupt agenda. They're using it as a tool to reposition their corrupt agenda, but they're not making it obvious just yet. But I think that's what they're trying to do. And I think DA has suspected that. That's why they're not in cooperation with this.
What do you mean, EFF?
No, DA.
No. But my view is that DA and ANC represent the same thing. They represent capitalism. They represent white capital. What I mean by white capital, not even white South Africans. They represent Western corporations. That's why, and I think that's the whole point. I think South African politics is rigged. And if you notice, that corruption between Malema and Zuma and all those guys with the bank, it made them look very bad. They were set up by powers so that those guys can also be discredited, which is why someone like a Malema, very disappointing that he was involved in the banking scandal. Black people put their money in banks, and him and Shivambu are taking money. Yeah. Once you do that, you're undermining your own movement. So what it is that, because we know Malema is he's a black nationalist and black consciousness, but his moral weakness has undermined the movement. You see what I'm saying, Alex? What are your thoughts? Yeah.
I know, I still can't believe Malema was actually involved with that. I was really disappointed. Yeah. They kind of make me back away a little bit because I was like, you actually did that. You really did that.
When I lived in South Africa in 2007, one day I was in Absa Bank. Malema came in. There was a long line. He jumped in front of me. They put him in front of me, and I joked. I said, "Sir, you can't jump in front of me," but I knew who he was. This is when he was ANC youth leader. He had houses in Sandton, and you're ANC youth leader. No, come on. Because I used to drive by and someone pointed me, so that's the house that Malema has in Sandton. So, money corrupted. I guess I actually believe that Malema believes in black nationalism and everything, but he's also greedy, like most human beings. And his greed undermines the movement. The way he treats the EFF, he got rid of, Shivambu left. Then he basically forced this guy out, Ndlozi. He forced those guys up. So it shows that Malema tends to be he's power hungry. He wants the movement to be about him and not about the country. That's what I think. What are your thoughts, Alex? Yeah.
I feel like in every African country, when it comes to politics, you cannot be clean. Because I remember there was this one lady who got assassinated. Let me just put it like that. Yeah. Because she was trying to fight the corruption. Every time you try to fight the corruption here, you get killed. So you have no other choice but then to get your head dirty.
Yeah, I read something. So in South Africa, there's a lot of assassinations, like, especially these local elections and stuff. So once that happens, and maybe they told Malema, you don't take part in this little scam, either you'll get hurt or you'll be kicked out of office too. So this is a big problem. What are your thoughts, Afolabi, before we talk more about the unity government? I think we've covered mostly everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the unity government is a concept that cannot work with all these parties involved. I even hear there's a legal action. DA has actually taken the budget procedural violations to court. I don't see how it's going to work, but ANC is adamant that they are for the government of national unity and it's going to work. But as long as they have policy differences based on their own inherent personal interest, policy differences based on inherent personal interest, it's never going to work.
But let's look at the policy though. So, and I'll give credit to Zuma.
I think it has to do with increase in VAT, value added tax.
But I'm looking at the other two that DA fought.
Okay.
The DA fought against better healthcare and availability for everybody because they want private companies. They want there to be a two-tiered system in South Africa so that private people will be forced to pay for insurance rather than get it from the government. So they want government insurance to be bad. That's going to be bad for poor people and especially for Black people and people of color. So when you look at that, you can see that the DA is not in the interest of all South Africans. It's only in the interest of South Africans who have money, which are mostly white. Then they also, the education bill where there was going to be more spending for public education, they were against it again. Now they're against this again. So my guess is whatever they're against, it can't be that it's for the good will of the people. Is that whatever the DA wants is for businesses. They want businesses to thrive at the expense of poor South Africans, Black, white, colored, everybody. The DA is is more capitalist than ANC. ANC knows that it still has to pass this education and those things so that it doesn't lose ground to MK party. You see what I'm saying? I follow it. So it's like if the ANC could get away with it, they would also be with the DA. But if they go too far, the South African people will move away, and because MK is a growing party. You see what I'm saying? I follow it. Yeah. Is Afolabi here?
Yeah, I'm with you. And both of them, their support base is dwindling because most of their supporters are not even in support of the alliance. They're not in support of the alliance. Both the ANC...
Yeah, but think about it. So who does DA want to be aligned with then? If not ANC. DA wants to roll the whole country. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Who else will a DA, unless they want to be aligned with the PA and some of those smaller...
Of course.
...parties. Yeah, but that's not how democracy works. ANC has to be... Since ANC won the elections, they have to be part of any unity government. So what else does the DA want? Or what they want is the ANC to do whatever they say. So what happens is the DA
I think the ANC can be a little bit more transparent with their policies.
Yeah, they could, but they're corrupt. That's the main thing. What are your thoughts, Alex, before we get out? There's not much more to say, but yeah, this has been a good show so far. Yeah, what are your thoughts, Alex, about this whole DA-ANC coalition government?
ANC stopped being ANC the moment they put out the fake Mandela.
Oh,
so
yeah.
ANC is being a sellout.
People still vote for them because of history. Yeah,
people still vote for them because of the nostalgia, because most people who vote for ANC are older people who remember back then, when there's still apartheid and whatnot. And DA literally formed this party based off of the old apartheid party. So it's really frustrating. Yeah, it's really frustrating that these two parties that are too corrupt, that are against Black people, are united like this. It's really frustrating. It's really worrying. It makes you...
Go ahead.
Your future.
Yeah. And we see that the EFF is growing and that MK is growing, but now the EFF has been dismantled almost. Everybody's leaving, and Ndlosi's left. Shivambu's going, and he's going to Zuma. So Zuma plays a role too. I'm not against Zuma. I'm not for him, but his corruption and his meddling, he's also he's hurting the system because of his corruption and is undermining the political system. What do you think, Alex? Yeah.
I think the reason why Zuma is getting a lot of support is because it's coming from KwaZulu-Natal, where Zulu people are.
Which is that's like the traditional, those guys are strong and they're loyal to their traditional base. Yeah, they're very loyal. So I feel like maybe in the next elections, MK might win if Zulus are backing him up. Yeah. Which is okay. I'm not against MK, but I don't want MK to continue sticking to capitalism. because I think EFF is good because they want African resources to be controlled by Africans. MK is just a traditional party. I don't think they really have an economic vision. I don't know. Do you know what's their economic vision? Yeah, I'd rather vote for MK than ANC, though. To be honest with you. Yeah.
I don't know, but like I feel like MK and EFF, I don't trust them. I feel like emotionally, are they good leaders though? Like emotionally.
Yeah, they
mentally,
may not. The African politics is terrible. Yeah, this
especially
immaturity.
Julius, emotionally, I feel like he would make decisions based of his emotions. Like if something bad happens now because of his anger, he might make rash decisions and now
Yeah,
all impact.
they're not stable. They're not stable.
Cool.
Yeah. We have to look
Yeah,
at some
they're
of
not.
the younger parties, man. These younger parties like PAC and all those. There need to be some younger youth movement parties in South Africa, to be honest with you. And maybe some people will split off from EFF and start up. But yeah, so South Africa, not just South Africa, so I don't want people to think we're picking on South Africa. This is a problem. Nigeria's problems are worse. We have a problem of leadership. We don't, and these older people, the older generations are not to be trusted. The young people now have to study, do well, and come up with a plan. What are your thoughts, Afolabi? Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. And some of these parties, I think they're too authoritarian and they alienate their people, their members. Yeah. A prime example is EFF. I actually like EFF in terms of their policy and what they stand for. But Julius Malema is too authoritarian and he doesn't carry his people along. So
his ego is too much. His ego is too much. Same thing with Zuma. Zuma is also a cult figure. Yeah,
Zuma too is like that, but Malema actually sticks it in your face. So I would have preferred them really because he's more like a labor organization than a political party. But because of his authoritarianism and the fact that the younger people within the ranks are not being carried along, it makes it difficult to support them.
Yeah. So before we go, any last thoughts, Alex, on what you think the solution could be in general politically for South Africa? Yeah.
Make me the president. I'm the solution.
I mean, that's a good idea, but you'd have to get a starter. You have to get a party. And part of the problem is that to run these elections, you need money too.
Yeah.
Same thing.
On a real note,
Mm-hmm.
I hope that the young people of South Africa, we can just come together and unite to better our country. Because I mean, with these job cuts, it's really scary because already the crime rate, as I was saying, it's already bad as it is. So now the tariffs, tariffs are like this.
But I think this tariff thing, after a week or two, this shit is gonna have to disappear or something, man. What do you think, Afolabi? This shit is crazy, man.
I think
it's a sign. I think this tariff thing is a sign that the world economic system needs to change. Go ahead. Yeah.
I think Ramaphosa will just go and secretly beg Donald Trump to find a middle ground.
Yeah, that's what I feel.
That's what I feel.
Yeah. All right. So we'll continue this. This is a great show. So we'll try to do this at least once a week for the South Africa show with Alex, Afolabi, and Moose. So it's a great crew. All right. Afolabi, take us out. Yeah,
another brilliant South African show. We've been discussing the job cuts from the tariffs on the citrus farmers in South Africa, as well as the Strange Bedfellows. That's the Government of National Unity. And from Alex, myself, and Mustafa, have a wonderful evening.
All right, guys. Thank you. Very nice one. Okay.